Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? There's a lot of action happening over in Iraq. There's even talk of, again, exchange rate change, but it's coming from a very interesting group, a group of people that they should really listen to over there in Iraq. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button. As you know, it does help me get past YouTube's algorithm. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps the channel, and I surely do appreciate that. Right now is an outstanding time to buy gold and silver or any other precious metals. There is a squeeze on precious metals, and with Russia trying to push us into the gold standard, the time could be better to buy precious metals. And when you go to buy your precious metals, give a consideration to our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. So yesterday in the news, word had gotten around that there was an attempt to come up with a compromise that would allow Saleh and Al-Kadhimi to continue at their positions and then just reshuffle the cabinet underneath them. Well, we all know the goal of Sauder is to go after those corrupt politicians that have been skating by for quite some time with no accountability. And he's counting on Al-Kadhimi to do his job and start making people accountable. As a matter of fact, we're already seeing members of the coordination framework get indicted. Yeah. So how cooperative is the coordination framework going to be with allowing Saleh and Al-Kadhimi to continue in office? It says the coordination framework announces its position on maintaining the Al-Kadhimi government. The news came out and said the coordination framework spoke today, Saturday, about the possibility of maintaining the Al-Kadhimi government with a cabinet reshuffle in the event that the political blockage remains unresolved. The leader of the framework, Al-Fatlawi, said there are political parties working to maintain Al-Kadhimi's government with a cabinet reshuffle, but this matter did not and we will not accept it at all. Fatlawi indicated that the survival of the Al-Kadhimi government with a cabinet reshuffle means the acquisition of specific political parties over the state, and Al-Kadhimi is ready to hand over any political party to the entire state in the event that he remains in his position during the coming period. But the matter cannot be accepted by the political forces and popular bases. In other words, there's no way in how we're going to allow this guy to stay in office if we can avoid it, because he's going to lock up our political party for all the corruption we've done in the past. This is why there's so much resentment from the coordination framework when it comes to Al-Kadhimi and his people. Al-Samarai and Al-Kadhimi discussed resolving differences and ending the political stalemate. So the Prime Minister, Al-Kadhimi, and the head of the Azam Asrami alliance discussed on Saturday, April 16th, the political and service reality of the governance. Asrami's office said in a statement received by the news that the head of the Azam alliance visited the Prime Minister today, and the two sides discussed the most recent developments in the political scene and the possibility of finding a way out that satisfies all political forces and parties. I just don't see that happening. I think Sauder, again, is hell-bent on making sure that Al-Kadhimi is in there to do his job, which is to clean up the corruption. According to the statement during the meeting, that he continues to work to expedite the resolution of political differences and activate the language of dialogue to end the state of political stalemate, explaining the work continuing in order to overcome all obstacles facing the governance. The meeting discussed the political and service reality of the Iraq governance, but the meeting continued to go on to discuss the political and service reality of the Iraqi government. Another article about the framework saying there's no way in heck we're going to allow Al-Kadhimi to stay in there. You can see right here, it says the framework talks about the option of continuing the Al-Kadhimi government to get out of the political blockage. This article is a little more detailed. The representative of the state of law, Roddy, said that the continuation of the political blockage may lead to the discussion of the continuation of the current government until a way out is found. I don't think they have an option. If you can't form a government somebody has to be there to be the government. So that's just a given. Roddy said in a statement monitored by the news, the current government is proceeding according to the administrative context entrusted to it, but discussing a matter of continuing to perform its work until the next election may be the subject of discussion amongst the political spectrum if the current political blockage continues. Yeah, I mean, what did they think was going to happen? Just run around without a government? I mean, it's obvious that Al-Qademi and Saleh are just going to continue forward until a government is chosen, which again affects what's going on with the coordination framework. If Sauder was smart, he'd be pushing Al-Qademi to continue with his investigation of those individuals who are corrupt and do it as quickly as possible. Once these people start getting locked up, it's going to dwindle the amount of resistance that's going on right now, in my opinion. Anyways, he went on to indicate that despite the different visions and the adherence of the political blocs to their position, there is an active political movement in the political arena and an attempt to break the current stalemate. And there are serious and effective dialogues led by some blocs and independent personalities that we hope will lead to the realistic solutions in order to form a government and expedite the approval of the budget and thus the launch of the process. Politics on the right track. Al-Qademi said his goals in the event of a renewal. We already know that. We read the article yesterday. It said on Sunday, Al-Qademi spoke via the Washington Post about his goals if something new is done for him, and they focus on strengthening sovereignty, privatization, and economic reform. I think that's the goals all along for him. The political blockage continues in the absence of consensus amongst the Shiite blocs in particular, and is reinforced by the struggle for position between the Kurdish parties, while the same conflict is taking place behind the scenes between the Sunni forces. In light of the crisis that will continue, the sources of the tripartite framework talk about no change in the existing acquisition now, as the coordination framework talks about being able to attract deputies to it, to form a coalition that includes 2/3 of the members of the House of Representatives. Well, if they could do that, the coordination framework, then they would control the political blocs and the voting that's done in parliamentary. So if they continue with this stalemate, there's not going to be any choice, in my opinion. You know, they already violated the time on their constitution. Technically, they're supposed to be going into a new election, which I have a feeling is going to happen. Saleh rules out Iraqi government's resort to external borrowing. Now, there's no reason for it. The financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Saleh, confirmed Friday that Iraq is living in its best financial conditions while ruling out the government's resort to external borrowing. Saleh told the media that Iraq is living today in the best financial condition in its modern history in terms of cash flows. He called for the necessity of utilizing these cash flows in productive investment for national economy resource, as well as employing national human resources in activities that should be income generating and wealth promoting at the same time. He added that the investment policies for our large resources requires operating them with economic joints in order to achieve financial and economic sustainability, pointing out that the exceptional circumstances are what impose a borrowing policy, including the deficit of the government revenues due to the cycle of declining oil assets. That's not happening right now. We know the demand is high, and they're looking at about, $150 per barrel this summer coming up. They should be just fine. There's no reason for them to borrow. An expert says there is no constitutional objection to the current government sending the budget law to Parliament. If they can't agree on a president and any other governmental positions, how are they going to agree on the budget? That's what I want to know. Look, it's necessary to move forward. There are a lot of differences between what was going on last year versus what's going on this year. They need to get approval for a lot of different projects that can help build the private sector as well as the public sector and start generating new jobs. But they can't do that until the budget is passed, which is really holding up the program. But there are individuals within the government that don't give a crap about the Iraqi people. All they care about is their own hides. So they're going to do whatever it takes to obstruct it. The last thing you want to do is start seeing this type of stuff, civil unrest. Cities of Iraq witnessed demonstrations calling for the speedy formation of the government. So the demonstration started in the capital of Baghdad, and it's popping up in several cities again. So when people are going, oh man, we got all kinds of money coming in Iraq, we're going to do the rate change. No, you're not. I told you have to have a stable government, a stable economy, and there has to be peace there, not civil unrest. Until all this stuff gets squashed and we move forward with a government that's formed, a budget that's passed, and the people are not protesting, you're not going to see a rate change. But the leader of the demonstration did say that they wanted their demands met. It said the protest leader told the news that the most important demands of the demonstrations are to form a national government and to achieve the demands of the demonstrators. Okay, so here are the demands. The enrichment of the ration cards. So that's the cards that go out that allow people to use them to get food and stuff like that. He wants the dollar amounts increased. The restoration of the alternative system, the reduction of the dollar exchange rate, and the reduction in the price of goods and foodstuff. So the demonstrators want the rate reinstated to where it was last time. These are the types of headaches that Iraq doesn't want to be dealing with at this moment. Things should be going much more smoother. There's no reason for them not to. They're fully out of Chapter 7, no longer paying Kuwait any more money. That means that money is staying in their pockets. The price of oil is going up. This means they can fund a ton more projects, get people off of government assistance, back to working, paying taxes, strengthening the economy, and strengthening dinar. Anyway, that's it for now. You guys hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.